Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on Dawn Martin and her friend Ron. They are paranormal researchers in the Michigan area, Detroit, Ann Arbor. I don't know. They're probably all over the place. Maybe maybe getting to Indiana and Illinois as well. I will be asking them. Um, if you find yourself coming back to the I Jupiter podcast here on YouTube, do me a favor: like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things that doesn't cost you a thing but means a whole lot to me. You can also find me on Rumble as well as Spotify. And there's also a PayPal link in the bottom if you want to go ahead and hook me up a little bit because my computer is very old and I am, as you all know, down here in Mexico and I don't make much money. So I can produce the best quality content I can for you guys. So without further ado, please welcome to the I Jupiter podcast, Dawn and Ron.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so a lady that I was gonna have on this week, because of some personal issues, had to come on next week, and I was like, I'm looking for somebody, and Dawn, she rang the bell. I threw my worm in the water. She grabbed a hold of it and helped me out in a pickle, and I'm very happy about that. So, do me a favor, tell my listeners and my viewers a little bit about yourselves and where we can find you.
Well, my name is Dawn Martin. I am the founder of the paranormal team, the Ghost Whisperers. We're located here in Southeast Michigan, all in different cities, but right close together. And we also have another member down in Kentucky. So kind of scattered about, but we are a traveling team. So we go out of state quite often every month. Sometimes several times a month. We actually hardly investigate in Michigan, but
Really? Wow.
yeah, it's
So
a
you're
hot.
kind of like a traveling van, like with the you got the whole band in there, and you guys you make your pot of coffee and you head on down the road and do some overnights at some places, huh?
We do,
Yeah.
we
How
do.
long how long you been doing this for?
I have been doing this for like 6 years with teams, but before that, I was doing it with family and friends, just going to some local ghost events that were selling tickets or going out. Oh
So
yeah,
you're
they
like
do that.
really fun on the weekend. Where most people are going to the bar, are going to go see a concert or something.
You're
You're like,
right.
I'm going to go see if I can get some EVPs or something, guys. You guys.
That's
What about you?
exactly how we we think about it, Ron and
Yeah,
myself. I'm going to let you go ahead and
yeah,
introduce
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Ron, go ahead and tell me about yourself, man. What's going on?
My name is Ron Wendland. I live in I'm from Detroit. I live close to Ann Arbor. Now I have been a paranormal investigator now for 361 days because on Monday will be my 1 year anniversary as a paranormal investigator, and it's every 2 to 3 weeks, I'm doing an investigation with Dawn and the rest of the team, and I just love it. And you're exactly right. That's my high. I'd rather do that than be out there drinking or partying or anything like that. I just love paranormal
That's
so
cool.
much. So
I
yeah.
w- I wouldn't necessarily call it a productive hobby, but it's definitely an interesting hobby to have. I mean,
It's an
the
expensive
yeah,
house to
I was
have.
going to say the amount of money that you'd have to invest into it to get the equipment that you guys most likely use, and the cameras. And do you guys do any? Do you have like a show? Do you have like a channel? Do you have anything that you guys show other people?
We use our own personal accounts, our TikToks to go and share some. If we got some really good evidence, like a good EVP I want to share, I'll throw it on TikTok. Um, Facebook is judgy, just the
Oh, you
platform
should get on
itself.
Reddit.
What
Go
I
go on Reddit.
and it's hard to even just put a clip up there. So I put it on my
Yeah,
Instagram. Um, my Para Stories is my name on both accounts.
there you go.
But we go live on our Facebook account, The Ghost Whispers, and we do it often where people will see our journey and where we're going. And right now, I think we're captivating a lot of people because we found a new place. It's called the Haunted Masonic Lodge. I went there
Oh,
in
all right.
January for the first time. Well, look, it's great. No teams have ever been there before. And one
Yes.
investigator was there before us. So we were the first ones to go in and say, we're staying the night. We got to see what's going on. And
Okay.
ever since then, we've been going every 2 weeks since January. So we're driving from Michigan almost all the way to Illinois, damn near. It's
Ron,
right
are you
at
paying for the
the
gas money for all this, or is it Dawn who's paying for the gas money? That's a lot of gas
Oh,
money.
it's all her. Yeah, it's all her money.
It's all okay. You're just tagging along. You're like, I'm here just in
Yeah,
case any
just
ghosts
put me in
show up
the
with
trunk. I'll get there any
yeah,
way I can.
yeah. You show up with the nunchucks to make sure no ghosts come in. I got you. I'm with you.
He's hardcore with it too. No, Ron, it's good when we have a team like ours. We're like a family. So everything we don't, it's unspoken. We all pay for it together. When we
Okay.
want to go into a bigger location, we all I break it all down for everybody. Like, I need this much money by this date. Here's where we're going. And
Wow.
usually everybody's like, hell yeah, that's a great trip. I can't believe it. And it
Oh,
ends
that's
up,
great. So, what got you into it? Like, what was there like an event that happened in your life where you said, you know what, I got to get into this?
I was just a kid. We lived in the east side of Detroit, and I lived on the street called Saratoga in Detroit. It's off of 7 Mile and Gratiot, if you're familiar. But the house was so haunted at the time, I didn't know what a residual spirit was. I just knew the upstairs was scary, and I couldn't handle hearing footsteps every night at the same time going down the hallway and stopping at our door. And then as I grew up and more paranormal shows came out, because when we had our encyclopedias, we were looking up what is a ghost and things
Yeah,
like that. But
I'm that old too, Don. I'm 44, so I know all about the
so you remember
encyclopedias.
the old encyclopedias with
Oh
the
man,
pyramids and stuff?
yeah,
So it
I
was
actually bought a set of those in '99 before like the internet really kicked off. I was way ahead of my time.
yeah. So back then
Wow.
I was like looking it up, trying to see what ghosts were. And a few places I lived in, I've had really active hauntings. And I'm like, why are ghosts following me? And, so it kind of became a desire to learn it. And
Uh huh. Like you were chosen for it, kind of.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
just kind of never stopped.
And what about you, Ron? What melted your butter the first time?
Well, I
Love it.
I used to see a lot of weird things when I was a kid. I worked at a summer camp for a couple of years that was on Indian land, and I used
Okay.
to see things there. I've seen. I've actually never shared these stories, but I've seen things as like a trapper walking through the woods with a lantern, one of those old
Whoa.
style lanterns, and it disappeared as I approached it. I used to see Indians, stuff
Whoa.
like that.
Did you bring extra pair of shorts? I mean, because I would.
It was freaky, yeah. But there were stories. I wasn't the only one that was seeing stuff. There were people that lived up there throughout the year, and
What
they saw a
state were
lot
you
more than
in?
what I did. And
What state were you in? Which state were you in?
that
Mom
was in
asked.
Colorado, actually.
Okay.
That was in Lake George, Colorado, is where the summer camp was at. It was in a ravine out, miles off of the beaten path, and it was great. I worked there for a couple years and loved it. Like I said, we all saw weird things there, compared stories, and then as an adult, me and my brother, we used to go through cemeteries together, taking pictures and investigating, here and there. So
Yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
been interested in it, but
Yeah.
it
I
wasn't
had
until I
a.
got with
Yeah.
Dawn that
Yeah.
that
I'm
I
sorry.
actually
Looking for a
Sorry.
natural pause. I'm looking for a natural pause. I think it was there, and I was wrong.
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry at all, man. Dude, this is not those kind of show. I guarantee you, we are going to be good friends. I guarantee it. I am here just to share people's passion, whatever that may be, you know. And like I had my first encounter when I was 8 years old with the poltergeist,
Oh, wow.
and that scared the living hell out of me. Me and my two sisters at the same time. Door slamming, lights, shoes flying, the whole kit and caboodle. And I'm still quite afraid of it, but I just have an ability to I guess connect with people, talk with people about what they do, and it's always fascinated me. But kind of like, yeah, from over here, but being here in Mexico, you guys are talking to a guy in Mexico at the moment. I eventually plan on doing what you guys do once my Spanish is up to snuff, but I got a long ways to go. That's very interesting. So you've seen a lantern ghost in the woods of Colorado. That's pretty, like the actual apparition itself, like the whole apparition,
Yeah,
the whole thing.
it was a full body. He was walking towards me. It was night. I saw this light in the distance. As I got closer, I saw the apparition, and then I got a little bit closer, and it just disappeared. You know, just like that. And I had other instances where I was. I don't know if you know anything about scouting at all, but I was in a thing called the Order of the Arrow, and we would dress up like Indians and have ceremonies and stuff like that. And we were deep in the depths of the ravine one night, and I was a drummer. We had dancers. I was doing the beat, and every time I hit the drum, I would see like a real Indian is what it looked like to me, like dancing with our own dancers. You know, it was really weird. Yeah.
Were you the only one experiencing that, or was it other people in the Order of the Indian, or was it the Order of the Arrow? Is anyone else seeing that?
That night, I was the only one that saw that. Yeah. But there's other stories of other people, you know, seeing different things. So everybody would see something different.
Before.
Say it again.
What's that?
I've heard stories like that before, like the elders of Indians would use fires like that to look into, to be able to like tell like futures, because like the spirits would come through to talk. I'm probably totally wrong, but it's somewhere along all those lines. So nobody come after me for saying that. But yeah, they'll like use the fire, like you said, though, to look into, and they could see spirits.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. What do you guys know about the Hat Man? Have you ever seen the Hat Man?
So, interesting story. There's this place that I absolutely love called Eloise Asylum, and somebody just recently, not myself or anybody I know, but a guest that went there caught the Hat Man on picture. And I thought that was fantastic because I've never seen the Hat Man there, but I have heard stories.
I've seen them.
And it makes you wonder if they're like connected. Like, do shadow people have different subgroups of shadow people?
Yeah. Is there some type of infighting? Do they have like a town hall meeting? You know, I don't know. There's questions to be had.
Like, is there like 500 of this kind and 500 of that kind, so they could be everywhere?
There's also like different types of them too. There's like the one I've seen just had like I always call it the spy versus spy hat. If you know the reference, it's not a fedora, it's not a cowboy hat. It's like somewhere in between. Yeah. Very tall, and it just passed in front of a doorway in this band room I was in Germany when I lived in Germany. And I heard footsteps, I heard doors shut, but I thought it was just somebody else in the practice, like a whole big like complex of practice rooms. And I just didn't think anything of it. And I looked out in the hall, the light shining through the door, and it just passed right in front of the door. And I was like, what did I just see? So I actually got up and looked, and there was nothing there. I didn't go down the fire escape to the back, or I didn't go the other direction either. And I didn't see hide nor hair of him because I don't know, man. I've also heard that that there's different types of hat man. There's the ones that I've seen, and there's also the ones that have like red eyes, and they're blacker than black. Like they absorb the darkness of the room, and that's always troubled me. Do you have any like ideas about that?
I'm I'm like everybody else. I have my own theories on shadow
Mm-hmm.
people. I honestly do think there is like subtypes. Like, I don't know if there's like hundreds of each ones, but I do believe that, with the fedora hats like that, the hat
Mm-hmm.
man, they are seen at different places that are totally opposite. It could be a prison and an asylum, but
Right.
yet people are seeing them at the same time. I think that I don't know if I classify them as interdimensional. I don't really think that they've ever been human to be called a ghost or a
Oh,
spirit.
okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you were discussing. You said you didn't know what a residual is. So what's the difference between a residual haunting and an intelligent haunting?
So a residual is like our energy imprint, like even this conversation right now. We could haunt 100 years from now and be replaying the same conversation. So it's a residual thing that happens every single night for the next 100 years. It's
Wow.
just something that somebody did that just left like an imprint in that time. So, as I was saying, with somebody walking up the stairs down the hallway, that was something they probably did every night because that was their bedroom. And they
Mm-hmm.
were still taking the steps down the hallway to come to my room. Um, you can't interact with those. You won't get no direct answers because they're stuck in a loop in time. That's the best way to explain that.
Uh-huh.
Active haunting is one where you could say, "Can you tell me my name?" And they say, "Yeah, Joe." So then you have something intelligent there. So that's the best
Wow.
way to describe, which I
So
love
that's
both,
that's
but I prefer intelligent.
so why do you think that? Yeah, of course you can start asking some things about the time and period in which they maybe existed. I'm sure that's quite fascinating. So
Yes.
normally, like the one that imprints the residual is I've heard that is something that was traumatic in that time. Therefore, that whatever that is, that the energy is then put in better. Because you were saying that you do a lot of I don't know. We're going to get there. You were saying prisons and asylums, and
Hmm.
they seem to be more prevalent in these places than, say, I don't know, your local library. I don't know. Do they even exist anymore? Libraries? I don't know. I haven't been one in a long time.
Yeah. They actually have ghosts at libraries, and the little historical societies, but yeah, they I'm sorry. Do you want to
No, I
answer?
thought the. No, I thought
Or
I
were
was like
you
I thought the
take a
computer
question
froze
one
up,
more
dude. I was
time?
like, man,
Like
the
I
computer
lost my
froze up
whole
again
track.
on me.
I lost the
I
whole.
was saying, why do you think those places are hotspots compared to, say, other places?
Okay, well, like an example would be like a battlefield or where a war
Oh
happened. There
wow.
was so much energy produced doing these things. So we're able to see their apparitions more clearly because of the energy. Um, at places too, like say an a place where somebody got murdered with an axe. Well, yeah, you're gonna still hear things from that night, from that murder, because it was so traumatic that that energy is trapped there. Or the
Hmm.
spirit doesn't want to leave there. Like
Right.
they still have unfinished business here and they get irritated talking with us. They're tired of hearing the same questions and they tell
Right.
us to go
So,
away and you got to come a
which
little
is
original.
why I talked to there's friends of mine are called Blondes and Booze. It's Brandy and Krista, and they are in Missouri. One's like St. Louis, and one's a little farther away. And they go and they do different hauntings and locations as well. And they were saying when you go in there, you have to think of different questions than what everyone else is asking. You
You
have to get
do.
like personal with them, and then they'll respond to you. And I've also been told people who don't believe in this, this phenomenon, which I've experienced myself, they won't experience the phenomenon because these entities or these ghosts or these interdimensionals are, excuse me, you've heard the draining of the battery. It drained your equipment. So they're trying to, get this energy so they can answer you or respond to you. But if you're not willing to listen, then they won't respond to you to begin with. And I just find that to be such a fascinating part of this whole situation.
I disagree with that part.
Okay.
I think I have made a lot of non-believers believers by bringing them to places. Some people like the bells and the whistles of it, meaning they want to see the flashing lights or things like that. Like hearing
you mean like cat balls?
like
cat balls, flashing lights?
Yeah, so they want the visual of it, even though they can't hear what we're hearing. Like we can hear something being knocked down and we'll react to that, but you got to have the visuals out there too. So skeptical people, when you bring them to a place and then they're physically hearing something with their own ears or feeling like they're walking into spider webs and they're like, what the hell is that? And
I've heard of that too. I've heard of that. That's an interesting phenomenon. Could you go into that a little bit more? Because I've heard that now. Yesterday I had my live on and my buddy Paul, he went with them. He's never done it before. And he was like, yeah, you walk into like this spider web and they're saying that's walking through one of these entities. Like what is that?
It's the spirit's energy that they are gathering around and everything, so they're able to have like their own, I guess, plasma. I have a new theory I haven't even told Ron about, but
no.
A humidifier.
Ron, buckle up. Ron, let's buckle up.
Like,
I gotta hear this.
Thinking of something new to do on our team, but I seen somebody talk about this and I'm like, this is interesting. I'm willing to give it a try. They're talking about taking a humidifier and raising the humidity in a location, since we know that humidity it's an enabler for an apparition to be able to come more clearly for our visuals. I mean, I would love to try this. So
oh my God, that means this place must be loaded. This place must be
loaded, and I know
I'm in the tropics. I'm in the tropics, and it is. It's like it's trudging every day. It's like summer every day. So okay, all right. So humidity helps. I'm going to write that in my notebook. Interesting.
It's a theory, and I, definitely got to test it and everything. But I think maybe with humidity, having a light grid behind it, I think we might be able to capture something that way. I mean, we went on an investigation on the 1st, and I told everybody on my team, I'm looking for a table. I need to find this table, and they're thinking like long 6-foot tables and stuff. I'm like, no, I need like a small table. We're going to do table tipping, you guys. Nobody else is trying to this. We got to do this. So
yeah, she's got you moving furniture around, Ron. Holy crap, dude! Dawn rolls with an iron fist.
That's the thing about.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I was just gonna say that that's one of the cool things about being with this group. We always want to try new things that other people aren't doing. We want to have an old school investigation like they had before electronics came around, because they've been ghost hunting, investigating for hundreds of years. So how did they do it before the voice recorders came out? Or the
dowsing rods, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So we're always trying to do new things. I'd like to experiment with black lights, and see how that works out. So that's something that we're going to do eventually. But I like the humidifier idea too. So we're always looking for new things to try out, because there's no.
Did you see how Dawn moved her shoulders? Thank you.
Oh yeah, she's got that shimmy. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Like,
So, yeah, go ahead.
There's no exact science to paranormal investigating. All it is trying to figure out ways to communicate. And there's different ways. We just have to find them. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's what everybody out here is trying to do, is find more ways to communicate, see what the afterlife is all about. And so it might be something as small as a cat ball that helps you. But if that cat ball is just sitting on the floor chilling, and you ask questions and it lights up, well, then you might have something there.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do
I'm
you
not
say to?
crediting
What do you?
that.
I'm sorry. What do you say to these?
No, I
to
didn't say you
the?
were.
What do you say to the materialistic scientists who would like scoff at what you guys are doing?
I think science is starting to get behind this field now. We have a lot of people inside of our field that are trying different scientific methods with this. I mean, they're doing brain waves, like they're wearing these hats and all of them sitting together. It's all going to a computer. I mean, they're doing
Oh,
great, amazing things.
wow.
And they're making great ITC out there. And
What's
that's more
ITC?
like a spirit box. So like you got
Okay.
your favorite teddy bear, you want to turn it into a radio that's real fancy and has all these tuners, and so they're able to create all this great equipment for us, down to like small things like REM pods or light ropes and
What's a
things to
light
make it.
rope? What's a light rope?
It's this long rope, and well, mine is a generic one because I get it from a builder over in Canada. But it lights up blue when a spirit crosses over it, or you can turn on sound to make it a REM pod too, and it'll light and sound. So it's
Okay.
more for people that are deaf too, and they like to go out. They put out the visual things for them.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I seen a
That's interesting.
investigator making things for him, like a music box that would catch his eye with lights, and so things
Right.
like that. And I mean,
Right.
so the scientific is a little different than us. um I like the more classic paranormal investigating way, but I love doing the research, and Ron has
Okay.
been under me training, and I've been teaching him everything I know as a seasoned player out here. And I think he's doing fantastic. I mean, this
All
guy's
right.
been on more investigations than probably people have in their lifetime.
All right. So, Dawn, do me a favor. Walk me through the process. Do you get contacted by people? Do you do private residences, maybe to help them out with something they're running into? And if that happens, being a woman, we live in the world that is the world. Like, how do you maybe vet it to make sure that you're safe for you and your team? And how do you go about if you say, okay, I'm going to go there? How do you go about it? Do you pick out a weekend and walk me through the process of that?
Yeah, I've done several home investigations to help people. They just contact me on my Facebook page. Um, I have a questionnaire that I go through, and I ask them each question off of my paper, and we try to figure. It helps us figure out if it's a house problem, if it's like a furnace or some pipes, and or always if your meters are going off, it might not be paranormal. We always have to debunk everything before you deem it to be a ghost. So that's what we basically do with them too. And if it is something, that is paranormal, we do a cleansing of the home with
Mhm.
sage. I use salts to prevent any negativity from coming back in. If there's any haunted objects, we salt it right there in the home to cleanse that negative energy out of it and get it out of there. I've had to do that. But to prepare to go out, I used to just be on a women's team, and we would just go out. We ran into, we went to a church one time that I'm pretty sure was a cult. and they had a
Oh,
knife
wow.
up there in the altar of the church, and I seen that, and I was like, why is there a hole in the ceiling? Because I'm trying to let her know, look, well, I see that knife right there. And she was like, oh, that's where I fell through it. I'm like, well, we got to go now. So, I mean, we just didn't go back to that. But now that I know things like that can happen, I always try to make sure that, because you can carry here in the United States where we're at. And so usually if somebody is carrying on them, or we just have pepper spray, or we go with a man, or keep them on the phone with us. And
Okay.
yeah,
Wow. Because I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. You got ghosts and psychos walking around, and you're in there going like, okay, which one do I be worried about more? And I would say it's the actual psycho more than the
Oh yeah.
ghost. Or, right, Ron? I mean,
they can
you look
feel
like a
sure.
big guy. You
Oh
look like a
yeah.
big fella. Yeah, you probably.
I'm a big fella.
Yeah, maybe 6'2", 250 or something like this.
I'm 5'11" and 280.
Whoa! I was low on one by 1 inch, and the other one I was off by 30 pounds. But you know that the camera adds to it, Ron. Maybe you lost some weight since the last time you weighed yourself.
Yeah, maybe. We'll go
All
with
right,
that.
let's get into some experiences. What is the ones that were maybe the most like where you helped the family, or maybe the one that just scared you? Maybe let's be honest, this stuff can be scary even if you're a seasoned vet. Especially for me, I would think it would be in a disembodied voice, like whispering, like, yeah, send it to camera, or whatever that would say to me. And that would make me haul tail out of there. What is like an experience that you've had that it just sticks in your mind?
my Ouija board, when I asked it to spell one of the people's name in the room, and it spelled my name. And then I got a little freaked out because we were in a haunted location, and I was like, well, spell my name, because it wasn't making sense to us anymore. And after it spelt my name, I was like, okay, we're telling you goodbye. And I was closing the board, and we go to stop it, and the whole planchette just flips out of our hands. It just totally flipped. And I posted that to my TikTok.
Okay, you shouldn't be playing with Ouija boards.
I
I am not a paranormal investigator, and I knew
They
that you don't
have
play Ouija
such
boards.
a bad stigma attached to them that
Okay,
is not true.
all
What
right,
you see on Hollywood movies, I mean, I'm not telling you to go out and get one, but I am telling you
or make one.
Hasbro has them for ages 8 and up. So it's like they're marking it to children that
No,
shouldn't. I
no
mean,
touchy.
I
Now,
think
Dawn says yes, and she's going to give you the reasons why yes, and then afterwards, I'm going to give you the reasons why no. But go ahead, Dawn.
right.
We'll have a difference of opinion. Go for it.
I use it. Well, not everybody agrees with me though, and not everybody on my team even uses it. I mean, only some people use it, and some are really anti against it. I am not bringing through demons to talk to. Um, no demons are, I mean, if it's spelling a name like that, you're like, oh, come on, you're just random lettering right now. But if your planchette is moving really fast and your hands are having a hard time keeping up with it, and it's just moving under your hands, you could see it, that that's a spirit. That's what you want to pay attention to. So in the
Okay.
beginning, when it's just barely moving, I call that kind of garbage. It'd be like a good few minutes before the board gets warmed up wanting to move around. Um, I use it as a form of communication. I use it just like I would use my K2 meter, a digital voice recorder, dowsing rods, or a spirit box.
Okay.
So to me, it's just another way for me to communicate with the spirits there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that they recognize. A lot of them, I go to historical locations and they use spirit boards back in the 1800s. So it's
Okay.
something they recognize using.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like
Where they don't
you're
recognize.
knocking on the door. You're knocking on the door, and you just don't know
You
who's on the other
have to
side.
close that door though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be, I mean,
I'm very
Before we
forgetful
do
with my
it,
keys. I'm very forgetful with my keys. There's no way.
we're
You just
grounded and we have our
I
protection.
more power to you if you're
Oh yeah,
comfortable.
yeah.
Have you had
Like
any
I
like
said, not
attachments?
everybody.
Have you
Not
had any
everybody like
attachments?
my board.
No attachments. Like you leave an investigation, you come home, and now things are different.
I mean, my house is haunted. Do you see all this behind me?
I did see the Jason mask. Nice touch.
Thanks. So like back up here, I got stuff that is old pottery when I went to Eloise Asylum.
You take it back? You bring it back with you? Oh God! Oh, Dawn, you're all right. You're out there. Remind me. Oof,
I
there's no
went
way.
metal detecting and found pottery.
I ain't
Then
taking nothing out there,
there's
dude. Nothing away.
a picture over here of the Beale Manor, and it's like wood in a frame that I got it from the owner. It's a beautiful picture of the manor and some wood. And then my favorite place, a Masonic lodge. I even have floor tile from that.
No. Ron, don't take anything, Ron. Let her do her thing. No. Oh my God.
I know she's got me doing it now
From
too.
1856.
If I ever go to Detroit, we're gonna meet up at like a local park. I will not be going to your house anytime soon. I just know there's just things I know, dude, that I will not do. I will go with you on a paranormal investigation. I'll go, you ask me to bring something, help you out. I'll do all those things. But I ain't
He
taking
was
nothing with
like,
me, and I
I'm
ain't
the
touching no
only
Ouija
one
board.
that's never investigated at your house, Don. I'm like, oh, well, come over. And I was like, just sit right here in the hallway and look down at my bedroom. He was like, dude, you see somebody going right across that mirror right there. I'm like, I told you see stuff. And then
I saw shadow
and he
people, shadows going back and forth
knocked
in
something
her room
over and
at the end of
Her
the hall.
house. At her
so
house.
Yeah, her house. Yeah.
Oh, that must be fun.
I was at one end of the hallway. Her bedroom is at the other end of the hallway, and I could see shadows going back and forth between because she's in her bedroom. She's got a door to the outside, so it
Okay.
was between that and the other side of her room that I just keep seeing shadows go back and forth, and then by her bathroom, which is the next door down from her bedroom, I saw a shadow kind of
that's
lean out from the wall and then lean back in, and yeah, that was weird. I had an experience that before, but I got what, she said that she had it,
I asked them to knock something off the table, and what'd they do?
yeah,
They delivered.
picture. Yeah.
There's no. You guys are much more braver than I am.
But mine
I've been to war, so you know what I mean. I've been to the
these
Kosovo
are
conflict,
friendly. They're not nothing bad. They're just little children spirits here, so I let them
that's
stay.
even scarier. That's even scarier, dude. La, 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 la. No. No.
Yeah, creepy hall guy is
My buddy
great.
calls me a chicken shit. That's what he calls me. But I'm just saying, I can't. It's just ever since being 8 and having that door slam in my face and all that stuff. I'm good.
That would do it.
Yeah, it's yeah. So Ron, what about you? What is the one that sticks out in your mind where you're just like,
Ooh.
wow, that was rough.
It's pretty awesome that you brought that up because I just had my scariest experience ever, and
Okay.
I don't get scared.
An
I've been,
exclusive.
ever since I've been investigating with them, I've been going from location to location, and we've gotten evidence and stuff, but I haven't really gotten anything that was a wow factor to me. And until we started going to this Masonic lodge, and there's all kinds of activity there. Well, what was it, about a month ago, about 5 or 6 weeks, we were at the Masonic. It was just me and Dawn and one of our colleagues, Doris, and it was just the three of us there. And we laid down. It was around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're on a air mattress. I'm on one next to them, and I'm falling asleep, and I hear my name, and it was Dawn calling my name. and I'm like, and I knew she was just messing with me. So I was just like, I'm just going to ignore her. I'm not going to say a word, and then a couple minutes later, it was a little bit louder. It was her again. And I'm like, and, and nothing, So a third time it happened, and Doris sat up and said, "Why are you calling Ron?"
Oh my
So she
God.
was
And
hearing it
I was
too.
facing Doris already.
It
and I
wasn't
was like,
her. She
Yeah.
Oh
swore
my
up and
God.
down it wasn't her. She was facing Doris. So Doris would have known,
We're in the
if it was her.
like you would have felt my breath.
Yeah.
And you had to have heard it coming. She was like, "Oh my God, that's right. I thought you were facing the other way." I'm like, "No, but now I'm scared." So we
That
were
happened to my sister. She swore up and down. I was in the next room. She ran into the room screaming and crying. Like 12 or something. Are you calling my name? And I
Yeah.
go, no. She goes, there sounds like you are in the room or yelling in my ear or whispering in my ear. Well, I can't remember exactly. She's in the 90s, 93. She's like, so you were calling my name. I'm like, I haven't said a damn thing. And
Right.
yes, that's weird that they can imitate other people's voices.
They're called mimics. And
Okay.
there's one at this place that uses my voice often, and I don't know why. But my voice will come through our ghost box. But the
Uh-huh.
ghost will also call Ron by his first and last name. And that
Okay.
never happens. I'm kind of jealous about it. I'm like, you can say Martin.
But they're mimicking your voice, dude. That's that. They say mimicry is the highest form of flattery. So darn, take what you can get.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
That's true. You guys seem to be a cool little ragtag group here. I mean, like, what do you guys do to relax? Or is the ghost hunting the relaxing part? Do you guys go out and barbecue or something? What do you guys do to unwind from people calling your name, Ron?
That's my fun time.
Okay.
I work 3 jobs, and on the weekends I investigate. And that's what I like to do for fun. And I just love it, and I can't get enough of it. But other than that, if I'm not, we just went. Dawn and I just went and saw Ancient Aliens live at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. So I like to do stuff
Is
like
that the
that.
dude with the crazy hair? Is that the
Yeah,
dude with the crazy hair? Oh, okay. I can't remember his name. I never watched the show. I was doing other things, I guess. I don't know. But I heard of it. My friend did make a joke, though. He said I've done comedy for many years, and I might be doing this tonight. Depends how tired I get. But he told me, he goes, Tom, if the archaeologists in the future ever dig out your skull, they're going to record a new season of Ancient Aliens. He's from Detroit, actually. His name is Chris Barrett. He's a comic in Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah. You check him out. He's actually very dark and
I
funny, but
will.
he's
Yeah,
one of my best friends. One of my best friends in the whole world.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you had someone whisper. You had a planchette fly out of your hand. Has there been? Because I've heard there's always. I'm not looking for. There's always trying to be salacious. I really
those
just like
were
to get
our
to.
recent things that just happened. Like those
Okay,
are
then tell
why
me
we were.
the one where you're
Uh,
like, oh my god.
I I got a picture of a full apparition at a hospital, and I seen that in front of me, and I was lucky enough to get the picture. So that's like my
Right.
holy grail. Like, holy shit! But it didn't scare me. Um, at the lodge, I was scared where I was on a live. I threw my phone up in the air because it scared me so bad, but they heard it on the video too. I had a real loud growl, like right in my ear. I was like,
Oh my god.
"Oh, yeah." I mean, that petrified me from going into the basement of this creepy place that when you go into the basement, we were looking at the walls one day and we're like, these are beautiful stone stacked walls. And then we look and we're like, wait a minute, why is that all a
Cinderella.
doorway there with cinder blocks? Like, what's
Right.
behind those cinder blocks? Well, now we got to know. So now,
Right. So
now
Ron's got to
we're
go get the
breaking
chisel and the
law.
hammer. Yes.
We did. We got a sledgehammer. We did. We got a sledgehammer and we started busting
For
down
real?
the wall.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. But you got
We're
permission first,
interesting.
right?
We are
You got
different,
permission.
but we have
Oh yeah, yeah,
permission with
Okay.
the owner. The owner was with us. He was
Okay.
doing it with us. So
yeah.
it
He
was,
actually
I
started the
knew he
whole.
was doing it.
Yeah, I'm on the board of Chamber of Commerce of Detroit. I just got to make sure that you guys are not, doing anything unlawful.
Well, the lodge is in Indiana, so we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sure. I can make a phone call, dude. Don't worry about it, Ron. I got it covered.
Talk to the owner. I'm like, I feel like we're on the verge of a discovery right now. Where our investigations are leading us. I'm like, we're going to end up finding bones. I'm like, are you willing for us to go any further with this? And he was like, yep, let's do it. So
Wow, he's into it. Cool.
he is hardcore into it. He investigates there too. Yeah.
This is an this old Masonic lodge. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get that place? Because like Freemasonry, the 33rd degree. I mean, I know this is my shit. You want to talk about weird stuff? That's what I'm into. That's not a ghost. That's my girlfriend. I seen her like a back walk away. That's
we
crazy.
are talking to the Grand Master that
Oh God.
first came to this town. He was the first one there. I mean, we're talking to his wife that was a part of the Order of the Eastern Star. Her name is Adela. And I think that's who the ghosts think I am, is Adela. So I'm imagining she had red hair. Even though I haven't found a photograph yet, I found everything out about this woman, about her husband, Joseph. We found their grave. That was hard to find. They are not in a cemetery. They're like in between two residential houses. So, I mean, we're doing the hard research to find out who they were in their lifetime. What did they do for a living? You got paranormal.
No, I hear she's boiling some water over here or something. I was like, what is that? What is that?
So we're like doing hard work there too, but the ghosts they're from different time periods, and we're getting a lot of Civil War and World War II ghosts that are there.
So this is like like if you're a fisherman, this is like your honey hole that you go to.
This is our honey hole.
You get there to
We know that we're rock and roll when we walk in.
And now you're going to a new one, you were saying, to another Masonic lodge, or you're going to a prison? Where are you going next? You said you were going to somewhere new.
Well, no, we're actually going to that manor I was telling you about.
Okay, a manor, okay.
Yeah. It's like a house. Well, we're going back to the lodge at the end of this month. We haven't picked our date, but we're going to Beale Manor, the one I have up on my wall. In July, we're going there the 4th of July weekend for 2 nights. So
that's fantastic.
Me and Ron are really excited about that. We'll be there with one more of our teammates.
So what would you tell anyone who wants to get into what you guys are doing? What would be the bit of advice that you would give from the very beginning, like a mindset thing, an equipment thing, or the way you go about things? What would be your advice?
If you are interested in it, go and do it. Don't think that it's got to cost you a ton of money to get into it. Your cell phone is like so much. It has your camcorder. You have a camera. Take your pictures in 3. You have a voice recorder built in here for your EVPs. You can download a few apps like Necrophonics or GhostTube.
Yeah, those are. I don't really dig those so much.
You can use them if you want to.
Yeah, they're little.
But and then you got your flashlight. So like your phone can do so much for a beginner. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And then if you want, go buy yourself a regular flashlight, couple cat balls,
Yeah, dowsing rods. That's no big deal. You can just take pieces of copper tubing and go. What about you, Ron? What would you say? What would you say for a beginner? What would you say that would be like maybe going with an open mind or going, how would you go about telling somebody?
That's exactly what I would tell them. I would, because I came in as a skeptic, and I'm still skeptical about a lot of things, but I have had some big time experiences that tell me that I can't be that skeptical anymore. I mean, I've experienced this, and so I'll call bullshit when I see it. But if
Mm,
there's no way to explain it, then it's an experience, and you have to keep an open mind.
Your
You
big
have to
mouth
go in there
and you went
thinking,
through the
all
floor.
right, what can I experience here? What can I do? And just take it all in. You don't. It might be an hour or something before you experience anything. It might be a couple hours. Or there might be times where you don't experience anything at all, and that's happened to us. But as long as you keep doing
patience.
it, if you're interested in it and you want to keep doing it, do it, and just keep an open mind. And eventually, you're going to have those experiences. I didn't have them at first, but actually, I wanted to say earlier, my very first investigation. We went to the Indiana State Sanitarium. The night before was the Davies House in Kokomo, Indiana. Then we went to Indiana State Sanitarium. I actually did feel something touch me.
Oof,
And Dawn was the one that
it's
explained
happened.
it to me that it was probably a spirit, because I was just standing there and I felt a spider web, all along my arm. I hadn't moved. I was just standing there doing nothing. So I didn't go through the spider web, So she explained to me that that was a spirit touching me, and I was like, all right, cool, and yeah. So ever since then, I've just been trying to keep an open mind, and that's what you need to do.
Right, right. I want to ask you guys, what do your families think about what you do? Or do you have like, a friend who's just like, or like the neighborhood? I mean, you got a Jason mask on your wall, Don. There's probably people in the neighborhood who are like,
My
yeah,
husband
down
hates
the
it.
street.
My husband hates this. You're only seeing a small piece of this. This is like crime packed all around the room. It's ridiculous what I have in here. And he calls it the witch's room. He's like, get your Tabitha and Samantha ass out of here, wiggling your nose. He gets so scared, but he
I'm
supports
the,
me
do
100%.
you
He
have,
knows.
what's her name, Miss Kravitz, the one across the street? Abner!
Yeah, he supports me wholeheartedly. And I know before we want to go too, I'll let Ron say his thing. I want to make sure that everybody knows about the new group called Paranormal Pen Pals out there with
Hmm?
Jason, okay, and
Yeah,
Adrian. I just want everybody to go and support that and be a part of that. That is something where
send
I
them
need
my
a
way.
suggestion. Yeah, let's be pen pals. Like if you want a old Paracon badge that I have, I can mail you that. Or if you want
Hmm?
a brick of the lodge, I can mail you that. And you mail me something from your country. And I just think
Don't
that
mail me jack stuff. If you want to mail me something, mail me a picture of you in front of the Masonic Lodge with a thumbs up and a cheese sandwich or something. But I don't want nothing from there. Not one piece of nothing. And if you put a piece of dust in there and it shows up on my doorstep, I will get you, Don. I swear.
Ron has tried to get my ghost to go to his house. He took a dresser from my house only because the dresser drawer came flying out and then made a left turn and slammed against the door. It's totally impossible for it to happen. And my
I
daughter
think
was
your
like,
husband
oh,
needs to be in a support group. I mean, I think your husband is. He needs to be in a
he's
support.
like,
He's like you're bringing him in. Oh, does he
yeah,
experience any of this at the
he
house?
does. And he is scared to death. He'll be like, get it the fuck out of here now. So, I mean, they can't go in my bedroom, knock over a perfume bottle and wake him up because we had to install motion detector lights in the hallway. So when you walk out of your room, the light will come on because
Yeah.
everybody's afraid of the hallway. So they're like, screw that. I ain't going to the kitchen and get something to drink.
Man, I feel for you.
Too
I was married.
scary.
I was married 20 years, and that was rough enough. And it had its bad, that is, great moments too, of course. But there's, I can't imagine, her being into this kind of thing. It's like, would you get that shit out of here? I'm trying to watch a football game, and there's dressers making left turns around corners here. I'm not into that. All right. So before I get you guys up out of here one more time, like, please send me your links too, by the way, Dawn. Any links that you
Yes.
want to send me, that way I can, maybe a bio or a little bit about your group.
Yeah.
That way I can put that in the description. You can tell me, one more time where people can find you and maybe support your work, or, maybe where they can contact you if they need help cleansing your house or something of that nature.
We are the Ghost Whisperers. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or follow me, Dawn Martin, and on TikTok, on My Pair of Stories. Also on Instagram, My Pair of Stories. I post all my little spooky stuff there. If you need help with your home, please don't hesitate to reach me on my personal page or the Ghost Whisperers page. I'm usually really good about messaging people back right away.
Great.
And we got all of our information on our page.
All right, Ron, any last parting words? Any favorite your favorite food, Ron?
My mom's lasagna. That's my favorite thing on the planet.
Go to Mom's Spaghetti.
Ooh, boo! No M&M references on the podcast.
Oh no!
Just joking around. I heard it's actually quite awful. It's not very good.
Absolutely terrible.
It wasn't the greatest, but it was cool to go. Finally, I've been wanting to go
You're
there.
going to the experience.
Well, thank you guys so much for
your TikTok.
Yeah, Ron, you got a TikTok? You got a Facebook page?
Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook and TikTok, RDub214 and Ron Wendland, Wendland.
All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Do me a favor, stick around in the green room. I got to make sure that all recordings went through. And
no problem.
Hopefully I'll see you guys again. Maybe next time. Maybe next time you guys come on and show me that picture. Show me your holy grail. I'll be looking forward to that.
I will.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So that was Ron and Dawn from the wonderful Ghost People of Michigan. I can't remember their name. What was it? The Ghost Whisperers. The Ghost Whisperers. I got it. Yes. I'm very proud of myself for that one. And I appreciate you all guys listening. Remember, every Wednesday we have a live show at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and every week on Friday, and I think it's 3:30 my time. I don't know how that works on the. Anyway, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and that drops every Friday. And like I said, like, subscribe, and remember, you are listening to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. And remember, we are the Eye, and we are aware. Love you all.
You have been listening to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. Remember, if you have any strange occurrences or stories or anything you'd like to share, please drop me an email at theeyeofjupiterpodcast@gmail.com and you'll be on the show. And remember, we are the Eye and we are aware. Thank you.